Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. These are the stories making the headlines.
The terrorism case against Kneecap rapper Liam O'Gohany has been thrown out over a technical error.
This entire process was never about me. Never about any threat to the public. Never about terrorism. A word used by your government to discredit people you oppress.
A man's found guilty of carrying out pipe bomb attacks on a GAA ground in East Belfast.
Local parties hit out at government plans for a compulsory UK-wide digital ID scheme.
And a pensioner caught up in the infected blood scandal gets over £1 million in compensation.
Also tonight, we hit the end zone with arguably one of the greatest American footballers of all time as the Pittsburgh Steelers' Aaron Rodgers touches down in Dublin.
And we have a yellow weather warning for rain coming into force at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Heavy and persistent rain affecting eastern counties. I'll have all of the details later with the forecast.
The terrorism case against the Kneecap rapper Liam O'Gohany has been thrown out of court due to a technical error in the way the charge against him was brought. The charge, which he denied, was brought in May after the 27-year-old allegedly displayed a flag in support of the proscribed organisation Hezbollah at a concert in the O2.
Our reporter Tori Watson was at Woolwich Crown Court in London.
Music to the ears of their fans and the Irish rap band Kneecap. Surrounded by a media scrum, this, rapper Liam O'Gohany's third court appearance relating to a terrorism charge, but also his last. Palestine! Palestine! The 27-year-old performs under the stage name Mokara. It was alleged that he had displayed a flag in support of the proscribed organisation Hezbollah at a gig at the O2 Forum in London in November of last year. He was then charged in May of this year, which he denied. His defence team argued that it was not within the 6-month time limit, and today the Chief Magistrate agreed with that stance.
This entire process was never about me. Never about any threat to the public. Never about terrorism, a word used by your government to discredit people you oppress. It was always about Gaza, about what happens if you dare to speak up.
Inside the court, Liam O'Gohany sat in the dock and was accompanied by an Irish language interpreter. The judge outlined that his ruling was not about innocence or guilt, but whether the court has jurisdiction to hear the case. He found that the proceedings were not instituted in the correct form. As a result, he said the court had no jurisdiction to try the charge. At which point the rapper's supporters who were watching proceedings from the public gallery cheered and applauded. As he left the courtroom, Mr. O'Hany was hugged by his parents. This, not the first time the group has been to court and won. Last year, they successfully challenged a decision by the Conservative government to withdraw an arts grant.
The reality is that the British government have nothing in their entire arsenal that can break the spirit of a West Belfast rap group. It is not what can be broken. More importantly, this is a victory for the Palestine people who on a daily basis stand against oppression and stand against genocide. This one is for you.
It wasn't just those at the courthouse who showed support for the verdict, so too did the First Minister Michelle O'Neill. Posting on X, she wrote, "These charges were part of a calculated attempt to silence those who stand up and speak out against the Israeli genocide in Gaza." A spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police said it will work with the Crown Prosecution Service to understand the potential implications of the ruling for us and how it might impact on the processing of such cases in the future. Tori Watson, UTV Live, London.
A man has been found guilty of planting crude pipe bombs at a GAA ground in East Belfast 5 years ago.
The pipe bombs failed to detonate, but during the trial of the 59-year-old, the prosecution described the case as nakedly sectarian. Barbara McCann was in court.
John Wilson leaves court for now, a guilty man knowing he's to come back for sentencing in December. His trial centred around a security alert at Henry Jones playing fields in East Belfast on August the 5th, 2020. The following day, 2 pipe bomb devices were discovered on the bonnets of cars belonging to GAA players who had been on a training session in the grounds. A female also found a screwdriver in the passenger side wiper well of her car. During his trial, the 59-year-old accused from Lower Braniel Road had denied having explosives in suspicious circumstances, and 3 further offences of attempting to intimidate members of the club unlawfully by force, threats or menaces from attending or playing sports there. A prosecutor had told the trial that the offences were nakedly sectarian, which raises passions in Northern Ireland. The jury spent 4 hours deliberating and told the judge their verdict was unanimous. As each guilty verdict was read out, the accused turned to friends in the public gallery and shook his head in disbelief. He then sat down and sobbed, wiping his tears with a handkerchief. He has been freed on continuing bail and will return on December the 5th for sentencing. Barbara McCann, UTV Live, Belfast Crown Court.
Plans for a digital UK-wide identity card have been branded as ludicrous by the Sinn Féin First Minister Michelle O'Neill and as unacceptable by the leader of the DUP, Gavin Robinson. There has been widespread criticism of the plan to introduce mandatory digital ID cards announced by the Prime Minister. Well, our political correspondent Vicky Hawthorne joins us now. So Vicky, what's the thinking behind these ID cards?
Well, as you say, this is something that Sir Keir Starmer announced earlier today. He wants to introduce this digital ID scheme, something that you would carry around on your smartphone. It's been dubbed Brit cards. The government says it would be used only at this stage to prove your right to work in the UK. The accusation is this is Sir Keir Starmer making a big announcement just ahead of his party conference. This is him trying to demonstrate he's taking action against illegal immigration while he remains under pressure from Nigel Farage's party, Reform UK. It has, though, received quite a lot of criticism, not least from the parties here in Northern Ireland. The DUP's leader, Gavin Robinson, has described it as the wrong approach, has said the DUP won't support this. It has concerns about this encroaching on people's civil liberties and privacy. The Ulster Unionists are against it, Alliance, the SDLP. Sinn Féin's First Minister, Michelle O'Neill, was one of the first to say that she believes this is ludicrous and ill thought out. And Sinn Féin particularly pointing to the challenge this may bring to the Good Friday Agreement, the rights of people here to be either British, Irish or both. And that's something that's been reinforced by the Sinn Féin MP, John Finucane.
There's been no consideration whatsoever to the very unique circumstances of the north of Ireland. We have a Good Friday Agreement. We have all of the human rights protections and benefits as a result of that Good Friday Agreement. To think that you can impose a compulsory British identity card on the hundreds of thousands of people who have an Irish national identity is exceptionally poor.
So has the government responded to this criticism?
Well, the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, has been giving interviews today, and it was put to her about the issues this might cause in Northern Ireland, in particular, knowing the sensitivities around identity here. She said the government believes that those problems could be overcome.
We are confident that we can roll this out by the end of the Parliament in a way that is consistent with the Good Friday Agreement. And I do want to be clear that although sections of the media have called this a Brit card, that is absolutely not the name. That plays out very differently in different parts of the United Kingdom, as listeners in Northern Ireland will be only too acutely aware. This is a digital ID that will be available to everybody across the UK, and we're confident that working with our partners in Ireland we'll be able to do that in a way that is consistent with the provisions of the Good Friday Agreement.
Paul, we should say the Prime Minister has indicated he would like this in place by the end of this Parliament. That would be within the next 4 years. He says there will be a consultation, but it is clear, yet again, all the parties here are united against another government policy, albeit for different reasons.
Indeed, Vicky, there we'll leave it. And for more political analysis, you can check out our new politics podcast. Yes, UTV Talking Politics sees Vicky, alongside our political editor Tracy McGee, look back at the political stories that have made the headlines here over the last fortnight. You can catch up on the second episode on ITVX or wherever you get your podcasts.
A pensioner from Northern Ireland who contracted hepatitis C through contaminated blood treatment has been awarded more than £1 million in compensation.
The 67-year-old from County Londonderry reached a settlement with the body set up to oversee payments for victims of the infected blood scandal throughout the UK.
Our North West correspondent Gareth Wilkinson reports.
Injected and infected, treatments meant to cure, killed instead, or condemned thousands to a lifetime of illness. Nearly 50 years ago, UTV filmed patients at Northern Ireland's Haemophilia Centre. They suffered uncontrollable bleeds, but the products used to clot their blood in the 70s and 80s were contaminated. Infectious diseases lurked within. One man from County Derry who contracted hepatitis C has finally been compensated for what he endured. The 67-year-old, who hasn't been named, has been awarded over £1 million, money described as life-changing by his solicitor.
There's a huge amount of relief in reaching a degree of finality here. Of course, there's a large figure that's being reported, but it was never really about that. In many ways, it was about getting recognition for the years of hurt he was put through.
Branded as a treatment disaster on an industrial scale by the Infected Blood Inquiry, a battle for compensation has been very public.
We need justice, we are entitled to justice, and we will have justice.
Nigel Hamilton is at the forefront of the campaign. He was infected with hepatitis and also lost his twin brother to the scandal. He spoke out as the body established to handle compensation came under fire at a recent inquiry sitting.
Put the money where the mouth is and get it done.
The Infected Blood Compensation Authority has been accused of taking too long to settle claims, but Nigel hopes news of this latest payment is a positive sign.
They expect, we are told, to be have everyone registered who is infected before Christmas and have most of the cases started before Christmas.
It's understood people from Northern Ireland are among more than 1,500 who've settled their claims. Just over £1 billion has been paid out so far. The head of the IBCA says he hopes the experience of the man from County Derry who claimed compensation brings hope and certainty to others in the infected blood community. In a statement released to UTV, David Foley said in the coming weeks they will open to more and more groups of people so that they too can make compensation claims. But time is running out for thousands of victims, and it comes too late for so many others. Gareth Wilkinson, UTV Live, Derry.
Around 300 workers at a manufacturing company in County Down have gone on strike today for the first time in the organisation's history. Collins Aerospace in Kilkeel specialises in aircraft interiors. Hourly paid workers took to the picket line in a call for a pay uplift in line with inflation, according to the Unite union.
Unite, our reps and our members are talk ready. They've proven to management that we're strike ready today. We're also prepared to resolve this. Our members don't want to be out in a picket line. We want management to get round the table and negotiate a fair pay increase that affords them the respect that they deserve as workers, but also for their skills.
SSE Airtricity has announced a 4% increase in its prices for household electricity users. The rise will come into effect from the 1st of November. It blames rising network and operator charges and market volatility.
There's a warning that complacency with AI developments could result in a brain drain of talent from Northern Ireland. That's part of the findings from a new report examining the impact artificial intelligence is having.
Well, it also found that up to 200,000 jobs here could change. Jordan Motes has this report.
Imagine losing your child in a train station but not having to frantically search for them. Sounds a bit strange, but with new AI technology that can search platforms, the child can be found within seconds. Artificial intelligence is already being deployed across industry and many instances eliminating repetitive tasks.
We're only at the beginning here. I think, some of the applications we've yet to figure out how we can actually use AI. But certainly there's a need for everyone to kind of make sure that they understand the developments within the technologies, to try and understand how they can apply them in their day-to-day. Because certainly everyone's job is going to change in some aspect. How we do our jobs day to day is going to be different, in a year's time and definitely in 5 years' time.
A new report has found adopting AI could be worth up to £3.7 billion to Northern Ireland's economy by 2030. Up to half of tasks carried out by businesses day to day could be transformed, and as many as 200,000 jobs could be affected, mostly through change rather than outright job losses.
Concerningly, it estimates that over 70% of the roles at high risk of automation are currently held by women. And we have recently seen an uptick in young people not in education, employment or training. And many of these young people are women. And we are trying to dig into the data to identify the reasons for that. However, one potential cause is that AI is reducing the number of traditional entry-level opportunities, a concern that is highlighted in this report.
There are a range of scenarios based on the pace of AI adoption. Northern Ireland has the potential to become an agile artificial intelligence leader in the best case scenario. In the worst case, we could end up with what's been described as a slow lane spiral, where we miss out on the opportunity and that results in stagnation.
We're also a small region. So in theory, it should be easier for us to move, quickly and effectively with agility. The problem, I see is that Northern Ireland might take too long to decide what is the most appropriate path to go and maybe not execute on the opportunity as effectively as it could.
Northern Ireland is already a leader in areas like cybersecurity. The question now is, can we keep up with AI? Jordan Motes, UTV Live.
Time now to look at tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Yes, with all the details, here's Charlene White.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, digital ID cards are to be made mandatory for every worker in the UK. The government says it will stop people working illegally in Britain, helping to deter small boat arrivals. But will it work? Tributes to the Olympic sprinter who became Lib Dem leader, as Sir Mingus Campbell dies at the age of 84. And it's early advantage for Europe as the Ryder Cup tees off in New York. Hey, join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Thanks, Charlene. Back here, sport is action-packed this evening.
Yes, not least with all that golf and the Ryder Cup. Here's Ruth.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Good evening. Yes, as you've heard, the Ryder Cup is well and truly underway in New York, and Team Europe are 3-1 up at Bethpage after the foursomes session earlier. Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood defeated Harris English and Colin Morikawa 5-4. Luke Donald split them up for the 4 balls now. McIlroy has just teed off with Shane Lowry against Sam Burns and Patrick Cantley. We'll have an update on that on our late news. Now, they call it the greatest show on turf, and one of the greatest stars to ever play American football, the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, is delighted to be part of the first NFL regular season game played in Ireland at Croke Park this Sunday.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of the first game over here. This place means a lot to the organization because of Ambassador Rooney spending time over here. So we're just trying to get acclimated after the flight and excited about seeing what the fan response is. But to bring the number one sport in the country to a country like Ireland is really special, just to let the fans over here, the sports fans, see what the number one sport in America is and why it's the number one sport. And I think it's fun to, it's like a destination game for so many fan bases that travel well, and this fan base travels well, so I expect to see a lot of Steelers fans there.
I'm sure there will be plenty there. There are just 2 days to go now until Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers face the Minnesota Vikings at Croke Park, the home of Gaelic games. Nathan Hanna has been looking ahead to the game and the connection between American football and Northern Ireland.
Excitement is building for one of sport's biggest spectacles. It's finally time for American football on the island of Ireland. This Sunday sees the Pittsburgh Steelers face the Minnesota Vikings in the first ever regular season NFL game here. The NFL has visited London, Sao Paulo, Berlin, Madrid, and next is Croke Park in Dublin.
It's a historic weekend on Sunday, this first ever game. For people that maybe aren't that interested or haven't watched the NFL before, for the first time in 2007, it came to London, and nearly 20 years on, it's expanded to all these different cities. And outside of, like, if you look at like the Premier League or different European leagues in terms of soccer or different sports, the NFL are very, very big on expanding internationally. So the opportunity to go to Dublin, they really feel is a natural fit, and obviously tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of fans here. It's a really growing scene, and a lot of people, as you said, very, very excited for this weekend.
Back in 1997, Croke Park hosted a pre-season game, but the love affair with American football here can be traced way back to the time of the Second World War.
The first ever American football game on the island goes back about 83 years to the 14th of November 1942, when a game was played here at what I still like to call Ravenhill, and two United States Army military service teams took the pitch.
Fast forward a few years and the game here is booming. The Belfast Knights are Ireland's longest running club, founded in 1993. Their head coach has been involved in the game here for more than 30 years.
Football struggled a lot in the country for a long time, and with the growth of it now, seeing it surge back, seeing youth football, seeing under-19 international football, seeing senior international football, to now starting to see flag football, female flag football, mixed flag football, European Championships, everything that's going on. I just can't believe where football's at.
I started in January. This is the first year the Belfast Knights have had a women's team. It was actually my brother convinced me to come down. He played for the Kidded and he tortured me for ages, and I finally came down, and it's been great. Like, I literally haven't looked back. I've played the whole women's season, and as you've seen tonight, I've started playing for the mixed, and it's so good. You definitely catch the football bug, and once you're in, like, it's hard to leave it.
Special delivery.
Well, the countdown now on to the big kick-off. Fans and players here are ready for the teams to touchdown in Dublin. Nathan Hanna, UTV Live.
Nice catch, Nathan. Hope that was one take. Now, Ulster kick off their United Rugby Championship campaign this evening against the Dragons at the Affidea Stadium. It's a big night for James Hume as the Ulster Centre earns his 100th cap for the province. Ulster captain Ian Henderson is relishing the start of the new season. Ian Henderson is entering his 14th season with Ulster Rugby. And for the first time in a long time, he completed his first full pre-season.
Unbelievable to be a part of this sort of like this fresh version of Ulster, and to get a full pre-season, get to train out there with all the young lads for such a long period of time, and see all those guys coming back in from national duty has been great. So look, I've been thoroughly excited playing and training with them.
Ulster finished 14th out of 16 in the league last season, and Henderson described it as one of the worst seasons of his career.
We feel that last year we let things go in games, we let things get away from us. It looked like we gave up on things, and that's something we definitely want to be parking, and something that's been a huge work on for us. Mark's been fantastic with the attack side of things, and Willie's been driving a huge culture change in defence. So look, the way we've been training and the way we want to play, I'm really excited about for this first block of 5 games.
Henderson has been plagued with injuries over the last few years, but he's hoping for a big season with Ulster and Ireland.
Stuff like that happens, and I probably found it early in my career slightly more difficult to deal with, and as it goes on, you maybe just become slightly more resilient or numb to it, one of the two. But it's definitely something I find not too difficult to move on to the next thing and get my next goal and move on with that. Being with a really young group of guys helps that. They're always bouncing, they're always vibrant, and they're probably key to hopefully what the success of this Ulster team going forward will be.
Finally, Banbridge rower Philip Doyle has won a bronze medal in the men's double sculls alongside Fintan McCarthy at the World Championships in Shanghai. Well, that's your sport this Friday. Enjoy the Ryder Cup. Come on, Team Europe.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Well, you don't need me to tell you that the weekend is almost here, but could it be a washout?
Well, it's looking like it could be. No good for your park run.
No, not good at all. We'll have to run anyway.
I know. Louise has all the details.
Feel good weather is set to continue throughout the day. UTV weather, sponsored by the Grant Irona R290 heat pump.
Hello there, good evening. It was a largely settled and fine day, but we do have a change on the way tomorrow. We have a yellow warning for rain affecting eastern counties coming into force at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, staying with us right through until 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. We can expect 20 to 30 millimetres of rain widely, with the risk of up to 50 millimetres over higher ground. This could lead to some surface water and localised flooding, so do take care and stay up to date with the forecast. We had a brief ridge of high pressure, keeping things largely fine, dry and settled. We've been spoilt this week, plenty of sunny spells around, but we do have that change on the way as the cold front starts to edge in from the Atlantic overnight tonight, bringing more in the way of cloud and some heavy, persistent rain. The winds will pick up overnight as the rain slowly starts to edge in, blustery 30 to 40 miles per hour in places. Some heavy, persistent bursts of rain sweeping through there. Quite a lot of cloud around tonight. That will hold temperatures up, lows of around 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. So that's in around 8 or 9 degrees milder than we had overnight last night. Tomorrow then gets off to a very damp start across eastern counties where that rain will stall. Some heavy persistent bursts of rain there. Behind it though, it is brightening up across the west. Patchy clouds, sunny spells and a few scattered showers at times. But it will remain fairly windy tomorrow across eastern areas. Along the County Down coast there, winds gusting at 40 miles per hour. The winds will ease off elsewhere with highs of 15 degrees Celsius. Across the rest of Ireland, it's a similar story. That rain will track eastward, some heavy persistent bursts, brightening up behind with a number of showers at times. Winds staying light for most places with highs of 17 degrees Celsius. Settling back down on Sunday, but 1 or 2 showers around. That's the latest. Bye-bye.
UTV weather, sponsored by the Grant Irona R290 heat pump.
Don't forget, you can catch up with another edition of UTV Live this evening. Yes, join Pammy for a packed show. That's from 7 o'clock.
Yes, she has Ned Guinness, who is the Earl of Ivy. He's talking about the Guinness family who are featured in that new show, The House of Guinness, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, it sounds good. You can, of course, keep up to date on our website. Simply search UTV News. Thanks for watching UTV Live this evening. Paul will be back with the late news at 10:30.
Yes, I will indeed. I hope you can join me then. Charlene White's up next, but from Sarah, me and everyone here at UTV, have a very good evening.
Good evening.